Today I got somebody special in the building with me. Uh, he's part of hip hop history. We hear a lot of rumors and speculations, and today he's here to give us, some firsthand accounts of different things that happen, man. I want to welcome Mr. Reggie Wright Jr. I appreciate you, man. Reggie Wright,
Res-
how you doing?
Respect, brother. Glad to be a part of your show. Thanks for the invite. And hey, man, I'm an open book. Whatever questions you got to ask me, let's get it cleared up.
Man, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So getting into it, man. Where are you from, man? I know you're from LA. So I just keeping it 100 with you. I've watched a bunch of your interviews, and
Okay.
I like the honesty and the transparency. It's a lot of other people that watch my podcast that probably haven't seen the interview. So, but they're probably intrigued about some of the questions that I'm gonna ask you too. So, to start it off, man, where are you from originally?
I'm originally from the Imperial Courts, uh, Watts area. That's where my mother and father met in Imperial Courts housing projects. My mother would kill me because she always said, "Nigga, you ain't never lived in the projects," because we live right outside the projects.
Yeah,
But that was where I originally grew up until about the age of 6 or 7. First grade street, went to a school called Great Street Elementary School,
yeah,
and then moved to Compton. We went to Jefferson's and moved on up a little bit where we thought
yeah,
from Watts to the city of Compton, and that's when we had to start having the white escape. We call it the white flight.
yeah,
Uh, when in the early '70s, the white folks started moving to Cerritos and Artesia and places like that, still in the Los Angeles County area. And we moved in the city of Compton. Uh, Started going to an elementary school in the city of Compton by the name of Stephen C. Foster, which is what's in the Ma Paru area, which, I'm sure that's why you got me on this interview, this platform, is because of my association with some of those guys
yeah,
and the death row. Yes, sir.
yeah. Okay, okay. So you came from a two-parent household, correct?
I was fortunate enough to my mother and father to been together. I'm 57 years of age. They've been together since the age of for 58 years now.
Wow.
Yes.
And your dad was is he still a LAPD cop or a former?
Never LAPD cop. That's where all the confusion come in.
Okay.
We worked for the city of Compton.
Oh, okay.
Compton is a city right outside of Los Angeles area. Uh, so it's only about a 9 mile, 10 mile city wide with about 100,000 people. Back in the days, mainly blacks. Once we had the white flight in the heyday of the '80s and the '90s, it was mainly 70 to 80% blacks. Uh, the other Mexicans, and maybe about half a percent of Samoans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So so with him being a cop, like, did you have a strict background? Like, did you have a strict upbringing?
My father is actually very liberal. If you ever seen any of his interviews, he's a very liberal individual. And so he was never one of those for stern. He was more of a people person. Uh, he's a talker, and so he did a lot of talking versus discipline. Uh, even his days in law enforcement, and even his days with bringing up myself and my two siblings, my sisters. Uh, he was very, very always a communicator. So
Yeah.
to say that he was disciplinarian, like you would think some cop or some sons of a cop would be, I I'll be lying if I try to put that jacket on you.
Yeah. And growing up, in one of your interviews, I heard you say you played football with Suge.
Yeah, that came on later. Uh, we played all in the system, growing up. How you have your little league basketball, football, and Pop Warner football, and your baseball. but we played high school football together. Is
Yeah.
where he and our relationship got a little better at Linwood High School.
Okay, so like the whole time, like while you was growing up, you and Suge, like, did y'all always have a relationship, or y'all just knew each other in passing? Like, what type of relationship did y'all have growing up?
Correct. Just mainly just knowing each other in passing and playing intramural sports growing up and living in that small little area of city of Compton. But we were two guys from Compton that were over at Linwood High School, which was a little bit outside of the Compton area, the city right next door to it. And of course, since we both were from Compton, same, 2 blocks away from each other, we were a little closer with each other than the guys that, was from the Linwood area, I think, is
Yeah,
what probably made us closer. Yeah.
yeah. So you know, eventually you became not. Let's take it back. What was Compton like in the '80s? Growing up in Compton, what was gang uh like the gang environment still very prevalent back then?
Yeah, it was just starting off, late 70s, early 80s in our neighborhood. I mean, you always had your gang members in the 70s, early 70s and stuff like that. But you had that rock cocaine area that was starting to take over. So that
Mm,
meaning territories were hard to come by, or was, you was guarding your territory a little more. And so that's what the gangs pretty much did because they wanted to sell the rock cocaine in their areas. And also now you having the guys is making money, and so they were able to buy the type of weapons that gang members usually like to buy or to
yeah,
have. Went from the little 25s or the 38s or the 22s to, you know, uh, maybe a 38 or, some type of rifle or assault weapon. And
yeah.
so we had that, and it was in the 80s. It was wild. It was wild out there.
So eventually, uh, you decided to be an officer yourself. What I know, being that your father was already an officer, was that like a extra motivational tool to make you want to be a police officer?
Most definitely. My father has always been who I looked up to, my role model and my hero. And to be honest, I wanted to be a lawyer and
Yeah.
go to law school, but that didn't pan out. And I went into, law enforcement and did okay with that. And worked there for 11 years for the City of Compton Police Department.
So you eventually started working with Suge.
Correct.
How did that come about? Did he did
Uh,
he did he call you up and say, "Hey, come on, let's work"? You know what I'm saying? Like, how did that come about?
it was actually my father had got some intel that some of the guys that were working for him, a bunch of the gang members, were planning on robbing him and kidnapping him and
Yeah.
holding him hostage,
Wow.
or or extorting him for some money. And we had a meeting and met with him and told him that. And that's when he threw out the solicitation that, hey, that's why you need to be over here. That's why y'all need to be over here working with me, watching my back. I'm doing real good right now. You know, I can give y'all whatever y'all need. What
Yeah.
y'all need. And my father definitely wasn't interested. But, me being a young 28, 27-year-old man, that atmosphere that was out there, of course I had heard about it prior to the meeting. And I was a little intrigued, and eventually took him up on his request.
You know, what I gotta ask, man, what kind of stuff were you hearing about Suge that made you say, "Hey, man, I'm finna go work with him"?
Well, the first things that was the experience while I was still working for him was, man, we were going staying in the Four Seasons hotels and going to the Super Bowl and going to American Music Awards and stuff like that. And those were the first things that really got into me. Of course, the parties and stuff like that, and then plus the money. It
Yeah.
was good. And so those were the things that intrigued me. But later on, I had kind of got an injury and got the business opportunity to open up my own security company, and kind of got drawn in and went full blown in about 1995. After experiencing a little taste of all those different things.
Yeah. So being a cop
Okay.
and working with death row, w- was there any kind of like pushback from any other cops, or like, being that death row has such a reputation?
Yeah, it was unfortunate. Some people that didn't like it, and they had their opinions about it. Luckily, death row business and the activities that they were done was in pretty much L.A. or Beverly Hills, and not in the city of Compton. So you very rarely ran across your co-workers in the city of Compton while dealing with them. So you didn't have that problem. But everybody knew that I was working with them, and I was there. It was even approved for a minute. It got unapproved, but initially I had permission from my chief to do the moonlighting jobs, what we call work permits. But that was shortly recanted after a few incidents that had taken place.
Yeah. So when you got to death row, it was Pac there yet?
No, yeah, he wasn't there yet.
So who all was on death row at the time?
Uh, well, of course, you had the Dog Pound guys, and Nate Dogg, Corrupt Ass, Snoop. Uh, you had the Murder Was the Case CD was just starting to get promoted and get out there. So everybody that was on that compilation, from Sound Sneed to Jewel, um, of course, Dr. Dre, um, Snoop, and the Lady of Rage. DJ Quick was there as a producer doing some production work. Danny Boy, a group called OLTB and Young Soldiers. So pretty much all the big name people were there at that time, except Tupac.
So how was it when Pac got there? Was everybody welcoming of Pac? Because you have all these different uh, stars, celebrities, these icons, right?
Yeah,
They probably did. They, at the time, they probably didn't even know they was going to be as big as they ended up being. But
correct.
you have all this talent in one room, or under one roof. Uh, so you can see how the egos get to flying. So when Pac got there, like how was it when he got there?
Initially, it was all love. Everybody was happy, and or at least that's the image or how they were portraying it. It didn't until later on. Uh, then you can start seeing a little envy because people albums were getting pushed back. Uh, Pac getting a lot of attention
Yeah,
and getting a lot of shows a time. A lot of money was getting spent on him, and so of course that's just human nature for people to get a little envy. And but nobody was speaking on it. It wasn't an outward envy. But now looking back on things and hearing interviews and statements being made by people, it's obvious now that a lot of people were envy um, and wasn't showing their cards
yeah.
at the time. Yeah, they were hiding their hand, playing poker.
So it was said that death row has a reputation, right? Uh, Especially should.
Yes,
What type of person was should? You know,
sure.
uh, like I say, it's always speculations in the air,
Yeah.
you know, and that's one of the reasons I wanted to sit down with you, because you have firsthand experience, and it's a lot of people that want that's always had questions, always wanted to know, and this is an opportunity. So, what type of person was Suge?
Well, Suge very charismatic. Suge was the type of dude that if he with you, he with you. Very loyal. But he'd turn on you quick, and
Yeah,
once he turned on you, it was over. Uh, but for the most part, As long as everything going smooth and all that, uh, he was down with his people, and he
Yeah,
would make things happen for him. Most of his trouble and his cases came from him going to bat for other people. I can't think of a case uh, other than the last one that he went to maybe jail for, prison for, is where it was not him going to defend someone else or someone that had called him to come and be, as I always used to say, Captain Save-A-Ho for
yeah,
the niggas. Yeah. So that was a Suge that I know and I knew. Now there's some things, and I'm not gonna put a halo over his head because he do go overboard when it's done or when he's over or when he feels he's been done wrong or someone that he loves or going to bat for was done wrong. He may go a little overboard, a little extreme, but for the most part, uh, it was people that brought stuff to him to make him react the way he did. Is
yeah.
all the experience that I encountered.
So when Tupac was in jail when Suge signed him, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, what was you there when Pac got out of jail the day he got out?
Oh, I picked him up. I'm the one that picked him up from the airport, Los LAX, and took him to the studio. And I also accompanied Suge a couple of times. I never went inside the prison, but I accompanied Suge a couple of times while he went up there to talk to Pac while he went to the prison to communicate and eventually work out getting him out of prison and signing over some rights while he was in prison to him.
Okay. What made Suge? I know, of course, because of the talent. You know what I'm saying? That goes without saying. But what made Suge decide to put up that money and go get Pac?
Well, the talent was mainly reason. I'm sure it was an investment. Uh, but he'll tell you he got a lot of love or had a lot of love for him, which is obvious. There's an interview out there where Pac said he knew he was having, Suge knew he was having some legal problems, and he
Yeah,
gave him $200,000 for two songs that he never used, on the soundtrack.
yeah,
And so that right there show you that's a dude that got a lot of love for you. To fork over 200 G's for you, because you're going through hard times. And
yeah,
so, and that was like I said, that was the Suge that I knew. Um, the Suge that unfortunately he get a bad rap for. Um, I, you got to take it situation by situation. You
yeah,
can't just judge him like that on an open playing field. There's some people that done got fucked over,
yeah,
but I can tell you more good stories than I can bad stories, in my opinion.
yeah. So I got to ask you this too. It's been a lot of stuff, and I'm gonna say allegedly because people want to sue you for, what I'm saying, for saying certain stuff nowadays.
Man, are we had some Sue boy? This been a Sue week, huh? A Sue month, huh?
Yeah,
The
it's
month of November 2023 was a hell of a month, boy.
yeah,
Man,
they've been going crazy, man. But I got to
yeah,
ask you this: you being around Pac a lot, did you ever see Jada Pinkett around? And if so,
no,
like what type of? No,
no, not at all, not at
no,
all. No, nothing. No incidents. I think they even admit that they weren't. No, they wasn't seeing eye to eye with each other during that time for whatever reason. I think it was because he elected to marry Keisha in prison, and they not speaking on that. And I think that hurt Jada to her heart, where she's starting to let us uh, hear that opinion and feel that way.
yeah,
And so, but there are also some interviews out there that said she was going to do the treatment for the video California Love. But I also know that that was really the conversation between her and Dr. Dre, not so much between her and Pop.
yeah,
So it's kind of a hard situation. They were childhood friends, and I know how childhood friends and people that really love each other, they they can hurt you more than an enemy can hurt you. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And we hold down or be upset or disappointed with a friend more than we will a regular person. And I think that's the stage they were in at while his time on death row.
Yeah,
And that's why I think she is venting out, crying out the way she has been lately, because she know that their relationship wasn't where they were, uh, where it should have been, and that her feelings got involved because he elected to marry Keisha while he was in prison, and not her.
so from your knowledge, did he ever propose to her?
I never heard that before, but I wasn't close enough with him to say that he did or didn't. But there's some letters that was found and that were posted on the channel, Art the Dialogue channel. And if y'all read those letters, people can really determine and review them and make an opinion from the letters that was written
Yeah,
back and forth between Pac and Jada.
yeah. Uh, what was uh, what was Pac and Suge's relationship? Did they have a close knit relationship?
Man, those niggas was partying, having a ball with each other. They were teaching each other game on different things. Uh, Pac was in a situation where he was trying to get out of situation. He was also hitting home runs for sure, and that's what I don't get. Why people think when you got a something where both parties are happy, and then you got other people trying to muddy it up and make it seem like things wasn't that way. But all I observed and saw between the two was nothing but love and respect towards each other.
Now, what type of from what you observed from being around Pac, what type of person was Pac?
Oh, Pac was very high strong. He was an asshole,
Yeah,
but in a good way. You know what I mean?
yeah,
Just very, how you said that nigga's an asshole.
yeah.
That was Pac, but he was also very smart. He was sincere and too loyal, very loyal, and that's what I observed about Pac. And he was a hard worker and very smart. I'll say that again because I was impressed, and I'm now even more impressed just thinking back of all the things, how his words, his music, and things travel, and still we can relate to in 2023 that he was preaching in 95, 96.
When I was in prison, I had read a autobiography about Tupac,
Okay,
and he I was very intrigued because the perception that was painted was this gangster, this street guy,
correct,
this thug, and he was into reading, acting, music, that type of stuff, man.
correct.
From you being there firsthand, right?
Okay.
When it comes to him and Big and their relationship, did you get the, what I'm saying, like witness their interaction with each other?
No, no, that was before my time, and so no, I didn't get to interact it. I know he was hurt by him, but I do understand or heard that they had a close relationship at one time. But as I explained earlier in this interview, where I believe people that you love and have a lot of respect and love for can hurt you more than a person that you really don't know,
Yeah.
that you don't fuck with. They can hurt you, and I really believe that's what happened between the two of them. Is they loved each other, had love for each other at one time, and something happened to cause them to hurt each other and to feel and say some of the things that Pac said about Big. But I do believe one day it eventually would have got it worked out if God didn't have the plans of them both dying the way they did.
Okay. I gotta ask you this. What was so when the beef started with Biggie and Pac, you was there.
I was there.
Do you think that the beef stemmed from the shooting at Quad Studios, or you think it was just some envy, or
No, no, I totally believe that he felt that they should have gave him heads up on what was going on, and that they knew. Not saying that he's right or wrong, but that he felt that they knew that that was going down uh, with all the evidence he had at that time. All the evidence that we learned the other day, he might have a different opinion, but in 1996, the evidence that he had, he believed that they knew, and they possibly could have prevented what happened to him.
So with that being said, with the information that you have today, do you believe that uh Bad Boy had anything to do with Pac's demise?
No, his demise or the shooting at the studio.
The shooting at the studio. No, 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 not the shooting at the studio. Just him getting killed. Period.
I believe that Puffy threw out something, running his mouth, talking shit. But I believe that the reason why the four gentlemen in the car rode on them that night was out of retaliation for some game banging shit that
Yeah.
happened inside the MGM hotel.
So I know you hear all the allegations and everything that's going on with Puff right now. Uh, what's your take on some of that stuff that's coming out right now?
I don't like. Me personally, I don't like uh, because it takes away from real rape victims and stuff like that. You
Yeah,
know, a rape victim that a nigga. You're walking down the street and you pull her and throw them down, and then, the way we know of a rape. I don't like if you're not psychologically crazy or something like that, and then you bring up shit from 10 and 15 and 20 years later. I believe I have a problem with that, to be honest.
yeah,
Now, if you've been crying out for a while and been fucked up for it, and people been like, no, she hasn't been right since that happened, then I agree. But you've been living your happy life, and now that you see and you finally found an attorney that's willing to take this case, and you go and sue people, I have a problem with it. Um, Cassie's situation may be a little different because things that had happened to her, her head might have been messed up. And then I also believe there that she signed something where she couldn't talk about it for 10 years or something like that.
yeah,
Um, so I maybe can understand that, but if it's about money, or it got to be just about money, it wasn't behind trying to get help or trying to get that person help or trying to get that person institutionalized. When you
yeah,
settle something the next day, it was all about money.
yeah,
And I have a problem with that for the real victims. But I also believe that the nigga is fruitier than Alizé, as Pac would say. And but if that's his opinion. I mean, that's the way he flow. That's the way he flow. That's his business. But hopefully, it's all people that want to be involved and swing that way with him, and he's not forcing people to do it. But when you're an adult and you're a grown person and you elect to do stuff like to have your career advanced, and you make that decision, then I personally don't have no remorse for you.
yeah. Now let me ask you this because that was a bold statement. You know what I'm saying? What make you think that he's, or what make you believe that he's fruitier than Alizé, as Pac would say?
All the things that's been going on. I mean, when you want to watch your woman uh, having sex with another man, and you over there jacking off, uh, you weird.
Yeah,
You
definitely.
got some issues.
Yeah,
Um, and you know, just all the alleged allegations that's been said over the years. Well, it's usually if there's some smoke, there's some fire.
Yeah,
I mean, not just one person saying about one incident, but you got, I could tell you about 10 different incidents where there's been something going on with him and men or women and men or women and stuff like that. And that's a sexual predator, in my opinion. But on the flip side of the coin, I do understand that we don't have the exposure to women like they do. People like that with money and stuff like that.
yeah,
And I get mad at Magic Johnson, one of my favorite basketball players. But he admitted that he used to have 5 women in the bed with him at one time.
yeah,
And when you have 5 women in the bed with you at one time, and you're doing that constantly, my opinion is that you're going to eventually lose uh, or not respect uh, that, and probably want to possibly try something different. And that's why I think they start doing that weird shit.
yeah.
So
From
that's my
from
opinion.
uh from you being, firsthand, what do you think caused death row to fall apart?
Um, Suge, to be honest, Suge, believing the hype while he was in prison, and not playing his role. What I mean by that, Suge is a marketing and a creative genius.
Yeah,
But he started believing that it was him that was reading and approving and making all of the different contracts and making no deals and stuff like that when it wasn't. And even though he was the boss and in charge, he still always had allegate situations like that to other people. And towards the end, he wanted to do it all,
yeah,
and that was the cause of his demise because he wasn't capable of doing it all.
yeah. We heard that towards the end of Pop being alive or whatever, that he was getting ready to leave death row. Was that true?
I don't believe it. Only one would know would be Pac in my mind.
Yeah,
Um, but he showed no evidence of that. Like I always like to refer to people to the last song that he did a day before the night he got shot. A song called All Out. All Out. He was high and nothing but positive things in the song about death row.
yeah,
You look at him in New York at the MTV award show, and that when he had that Death Row East T-shirt on in the park, all he's talking about is Death Row and Death Row East, and saying great things about come to Death Row and do this with Death Row and all that. Those 3 to 4 days before he uh he got shot. So my point to all of that is, I don't believe the Pac that I knew, the Pac that I hope that we all love and you guys love, don't believe that he's a disloyal person like that,
yeah,
because that's straight. That's straight. That's worse. That's like being like it's not worse than Judas, but it's some Judas shit.
yeah, yeah. Were you there when Pop got killed?
No, I was in the city. I was in Vegas. I was at this club, at the club where they were on their way to, but I was not in the entourage.
Were you able to see his body or get to the hospital before they took him in?
No, only time I saw his body was while he was laying on the in the not the emergency room, in the ICU unit, fighting for his life.
Yeah. So Pac is really dead.
Fox there.
It's always somebody gonna pop up in Cuba and all over the place and say they saw Pac. That ain't true.
I wish he was still alive. but he's dead.
Yeah.
But if somehow he is still alive, once again, I'll go back to, would that be the man that we all love and respect? If you hiding out for a
Yeah.
little 3 to 4 years of penitentiary time left,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, come
So
on.
what you think Keefe D little plot was for doing all the interviews and all of that?
Got caught up with the fame and, making a little bit extra money, and he had been getting away with it. And so he thought he was free and clear. And I really thought he believed that he was able to do that.
Yeah.
Do
Yeah.
do the interview.
Let me
And
ask let me ask you this. Being that you were in law enforcement, right? Which means that you were you took an oath to serve and protect. So you saw all type of kids, all type of different dysfunctional stuff being an officer, right? And
correct.
then you ended up working with death row. Do you feel like the music impacted or shifted the culture at the time?
Well, I think, see, I'm one of those that believe that your parents is it should be your role models and who you look up to and who should be monitoring and explaining stuff to you.
Yeah.
I would prefer I get around songs like that
Yeah.
over songs that we hear with Prince and them talking about head and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying there's always been out there devil worship songs and all of that that's out there. And they don't get the bad rap that the hip hop and rap get. I think things need to be explained to kids.
Yeah.
And I'm one of those that believe sit down, talk with them, listen to music like that with your kids, but ask them, do you know what that mean? Do you know what they mean when they saying that? Uh,
Yeah.
you know, explain and talk to them about it, because you can't hide it. Because I remember sneaking off in 1982, 81, listening to the car to Prince on that song "Head." Man, that was the most explicit song we ever heard in our life, and I thought it was the best shit ever. But you know, I uh, I wish my dad would have been able to talk to me about it or something like that, listen to me, explain to me. Instead of hearing it from the homeboys and their opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's my opinion on it. I don't have a problem with lyrics and stuff like that as long
Yeah.
as it explained to the person.
Yeah.
And the age limit is kind of hard to say because kids can comprehend things a little quicker than others. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And so that's why it got to be somewhere where somebody got to have somebody in their life that they can listen to and talk to. And I believe everybody should have that person in their life.
Man, before we go, man, I want to ask you this. What do you think of the state of the youth right now, especially our youth?
Yeah. Well, the biggest thing that we need to worry about and educate our kids on is this fentanyl stuff
Yeah.
because we don't know when they're taking this stuff. Generally, we know if our kid is drinking, we know if our kid is smoking weed. We can even tell if they were on meth or cocaine. But this fentanyl is this appeal, and we don't know when they taking this stuff and it's killing them in their sleep. And so we're gonna have to get some education and understanding, and then really educate them on that as far as the drug abuse, which has always been an issue. That's always probably always going to be an issue, as long as it's making money and people can make money off of it. But my biggest thing is we need to build our park and recreations back up.
Yeah.
Get good
Definitely.
coaches. Get good people back in the park and recs. Don't you remember playing Karen? You look like you're a little bit in my age. These kids don't know what Karens is. We used to go
Yeah,
to the park and play Karens and
yeah,
stuff like that. Being in the sandbox playing marbles and stuff like that. They don't know about the street lights blinking and shit like that. That
yeah,
mean bring your ass home when the street lights start blinking and stuff.
yeah,
My, my point is, we got to get, and unfortunately, the molesters and all of that got us protecting our kids and watching over them and not letting them go and do anything. But, but we got to get our park rations together where we can get coaches up there that ain't up there wanting to molest our kids, where we can trust them with our kids and get some good basketball programs where we're having these kids looking good in their uniforms. Uh, you got the programs, the MJJ and all of that, the different leagues and stuff. But that's
yeah,
travel ball. Man, no parents, they spending a whole weekend with those kids, and taking them and traveling and all of that. So that's cool if you can afford it. But I'm talking about the kids that can't afford it. I
yeah,
remember I used to just ride my bicycle to basketball practice and go and shit. If my mom and dad came to my game, thank God, luckily, I praise you. But we'll have a game and there you let how you do at your game. Now the parents got to go and set up the game and all of that. And if they're not in the ability to do that, they can't do it.
yeah,
We just got to do something where we can get coaches that we can trust with our kids, get some nice uniforms, and build up these park and recreations.
yeah. Give them
Yeah,
something to do.
correct.
Yeah, man. Mr. Wright, I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking time out to sit down and talk with me, share some light on some of the stuff that we heard about.
Yeah.
And like I said, man, thank you. I really do
Pre-
appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it, brother. And anytime we can make it happen, let's make it happen. I'm always here for you.
All right. Thank you. Thank you.
Respect, Mike.
All right. With that being said, man, like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, man. How about